Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the PUBG Mobile Pro League South Asia Championship Season 3. This is Super Johnny. Joining me is Phoenix Sivanch. It is an exciting day to be back, and especially during the finals after the way the league stages have gone through. Phoenix, how are you doing, buddy? Yes. I mean, it is going to be super fun to witness what these teams will be bringing to the table, but let's not forget there's a lot on the line for everyone. And yes, I mean, we have been witnessing the teams from Mongolia dominate yet again, but let's see. We have seen strong performances from the contenders from Nepal as well, and it is going to be an exciting journey throughout the next few days as we see and move forward with the matches to find out in the end who will be the one true, in fact, champion of South Asia. And it is, as I said, going to be an intense, a pretty interesting journey, but I mean, we don't know what to expect yet. I mean, we have Stalwart Esport as the obvious contenders, but there can always be surprise runners coming throughout these tournaments, and especially with the way how the matches have gone during the league stages. It is kind of difficult to expect what is up next, but you know what is not difficult? Our roadmap. It's quite easy. We are at the PMPL South Asia, after which, in fact, we are at the championship right now, after which we do have the World Invitational coming up, which is going to be the next event in line, and of course, the World Invitational All-Star stage as well, for which we do have some exciting news for you guys as well.
So we have one like in-game voting thing, which I liked it because so let me explain it to the audience. First of all, we all know that we have one like favorite team, and we want them to be in the PUBG Mobile World Invitational. So you have a chance to support your team, and you have a chance to just give your team that luxury to be the part in the PUBG Mobile World Invitational All-Star. What you have to do is you just have to log into the game, and you have to vote for your favorite team.
Yes.
The team with most votes from each region gets to play in 2023 PUBG Mobile World Invitational All-Star stage.
Yeah, so just quite simple, as Sivanch says, go ahead, vote for your favorite teams. And following that, we do have the prize pool to talk about of the South Asia Championship. I mean, $150,000 with the winner walking away with $26,000. I mean, it's going to be quite exciting to witness how these teams are going to compete. And of course, I mean, with a lot of money on the line, there's always a lot of pressure of losing it all. So that is always something, a little bit of an exciting mental aspect of these tournaments that I look forward to. And now we do have, of course, the point structure on our screens. I mean, as old as time itself. Now, in fact, have gotten used to it. First position walking away with 10 points, second walking away with 6, third walking away with 5 points. So 1 point per eliminations. There's a lot more incentive to go for those early game fights and to try and get those elimination numbers up as quickly as possible. And it's always fun to witness action. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree with that. I always love the teams when they are engaged in those early fights and tend to eliminate those Goliaths who can just destroy their hopes when it comes down to the final circle and get the chicken dinner. But we have the contenders. So these are the top 16 teams playing in the South Asian Championship. They've been very consistent throughout the league stage, but now they are here to be the champion.
I mean, it's going to be fun to witness what these teams are going to bring to the table, especially with the way the league stages went by for everyone. And as we were talking about them, I mean, Stalwart doing a pretty phenomenal job, as always. I mean, being ever so consistent. But, I mean, they have competition following them up in the form of 4MV, looking quite exciting, to be very honest, along with Maptix. I mean, Maptix have been kind of a huge turnaround. I was following the matches and the way they have been playing. I would love to see them put up the same performance in the finals as well. But I guess only time will tell how the team is going to perform once the matches begin.
Yeah, I'm also excited because, as I just mentioned, Maptix is a huge name and also Stalwart Esports. But including these two teams, they are a little bit weak in certain maps. For an example, Sanhok. Sanhok is their biggest enemy because we saw that these teams tend to struggle in Sanhok map, and other teams like I8, IHC, Leo, they tend to perform very good. So like the the execution or maybe the introduction of the Sanhok map is a real gamble for these teams.
Yeah.
So let's see how they're going to perform today, because they got some breaks to just improve their strat and also what's going to be their mentality when they are playing on those X Factor maps.
I mean, definitely, off maps can be a challenge for a lot of the teams. That is the way it has been ever since the game came out, wherein few teams will do really well on a wrangle. There have been teams who have been extremely consistent on maps like Miramar, maps where that campy playstyle is rewarded. The fact that you can hold your angles properly and shoot down enemies at a long distance is beneficial to you. And that has been the case for a while now. And it is important to perform on those maps as well, because those off maps do happen quite often during the middle of the day. But let's see, I mean, Wrangle always an important pick. And if you can be consistent on a Wrangle, I think that can be your bread and butter throughout this tournament, getting you a lot of consistent points. Yeah. On Sanhok, definitely, I think, as you mentioned, if that is the map that you struggle with, it would be ideal for them to not get eliminated. I guess not let the average drop too much. I think that is what they're going to be hoping for. But yet again, I mean, there is a lot of RNG factor involved in the mid-game transition, so no one can account for that. And that it's going to be quite interesting to see if the teams figure out a way to deal with those elements right now, especially with the way this point structure is and with how the fights are going to be forced. So, I mean, I can't wait for the matches to begin. I guess before we actually jump into the games, it's time to have a look at the schedule of the day.
Yeah, the first map, it's going to be Wrangle as usual. You're going to start the day with the home ground itself, and then we'll move forward to the Miramar. Another off map, but I'm sure the teams are very well prepared for this, and a lot of teams are already conditioned the way Team Miramar sets up the pace for them. And then we're going to witness another Wrangle. But these three maps will set up the pace for the first half of the day. But the other three maps are crazy: Sanhok, Miramar, and we'll end the day with another Wrangle. So in total, we're going to play 3 Wrangles, 2 Miramar, and 1 Sanhok. I'm looking forward for the third and the fourth match, because there's a pattern which some of the Mongolian teams follow, and that is they tend to start very slow.
Very slow, yeah.
So if that's going to be the case today, like, I'll not be that surprised, but how other teams going to react to those things, that's going to be the X factor.
I mean, especially in the case of teams like Stalwart and, I'm going to say it, IHC, they are in the middle of the pack right now, but you never know when they're going to pop up. It is IHC. It is the legendary lineup that basically put Mongolia as the top contenders on the world stage, and I think you can never count them out. So I think these two teams have that factor wherein either they get to start off extremely strong and just continue that throughout the very end, or it's going to be a slow start. As you mentioned, the first 2 games are not going to be that great. You're going to see them finish off with a few eliminations, but the position points aren't really going to be there. And from game 3 onwards is where they pick up the pace. The consistent high place finishes start to come in. You see them break into the top 5, top 4 more consistently with a lot more eliminations, and that can be quite beneficial to these lineups, because they, along with the consistent high place finishes, do make sure to bring in those high elimination numbers in every game as well. But I mean, it is words. I'm running out of words trying to describe that. The fact that, on the stage of the finals, you always expect the wildest of things out of nowhere. You can expect a team that was middle of the pack or somewhere in the bottom during the league stages walking away with the chicken in a back-to-back in the first 2 games and do really well on day 1 and then continue to read to day 2. And if the momentum can be carried forward, not necessarily focused on just winning every single game, but finishing in top 5s one way or the other with, let's assume, minimum of 6 to 7 eliminations, I think that point average should be enough to keep the team in the top position. And stuff like this definitely does happen in the finals, especially on a stage like the South Asia Championship and with the caliber of players that we have in this championship. So a lot of X factors to encounter for, but definitely one of the biggest roles is going to be played by the momentum of the first few games, and I think everyone is going to look to start on a stronger foot. So map number 1, as you mentioned, for you, game number 3 is going to be important. For me, it's going to be game number 1.
Oh, okay. Like very future matches too, because we all know the championship is not like a league day stage. You have a lot of matches, you can prepare a lot, you can just give up some maps, but that's not going to be the case here in the championship. You have few maps, you have few chances, and you have to grab every single one of them.
And let's see as the game begins. Game number 1 of the PMPL South Asia Championship 2023. As always, the map is Erangel, and the top 16 teams from the league stages are set to begin their run of the finals. We do have the trajectory of the plane starting from one of my favorite spots on the map, the northern Georgia Pole City, and it's going to go all the way through Pochinki, well, quite close to Pochinki, from close to Pochinki to the military island, ending towards the southeastern edge of the military island, just a little bit south of that observatory hill, where, I mean, we have seen a lot of highlights clips from the lads of Stalwart Esports.
Yeah, they tend to exploit that one particular area a lot if they have that luxury to get the circle and also, annihilate the hopes of the opponents. But let's see where the circle is just gonna form. And we all know this is the first game, and it is gonna be a slow pace too, because teams tend to have a good footing in the first map and first day itself, because then they can decide that what type of pace they're gonna follow in the upcoming days, and also what type of game plan they're also gonna follow. But for now, every single team, it seems like this is going to move forward to their favorite drop location. I like where the Team 4 medical vibes tend to drop, and that's the military base, because you can collect a lot of loot, and you can collect a lot of vehicles too, because which help you a lot in those rotations, and also can help you in the final circles.
Well, yeah, it can definitely be beneficial to them in the final few fights if they manage to make sure that their numbers are up, and try to focus on a little bit of a slow early game. But let's see. I mean, situations can change in the blink of an eye in this game, and that is what I enjoy the most. I mean, kind of an early fight expected towards the Ferry Pier Primorsk area, as we do have two teams, in fact 3 teams if you count Aegon I-8 just landing for that pancake split quite close to the military bridge. Will tend to be for an interesting situation, since the 3 teams are going to be quite close to the center of the zone. But I mean, I guess at this point, 3 teams that everyone's eyes are going to be on, of course, one after the other, are going to be STE, Maptex up towards the Sarki positions. And, well, 7th Element, not wasting any time, as Uzum has been dropped to an extremely low HP. He's going to try and escape with his teammate. But Assad, he does not want to engage this even further. He knows he's also isolated. Plus, early stages of the game, you do not really have that much ammo or utility to commit to a serious fight. So 7th Element, they're going to go back to looting, trying to get their ammo numbers up again. Let's see how this goes. If they collapse as a team, then it is going to be a 4v2. Aegon I-8 could be in a world of hurt.
But they escaped for now. Like, at least 2 of them somehow managed to escape from this situation, though. But let's talk about this team, because 7th Element, just like the name, they tend to include that element of surprise in their game plan, and also the way they take those fights. But the important factor is the league stage wasn't that good as we expected. They were at the 16th position. So they were struggling a lot in those early days, right? They end up in the 12th a lot, on 16th position a lot, and also weren't able to secure a lot of finishes. So those type of situations happen in the league still, but I don't want them like similar type of situations happen with them today. But let's see how they're gonna perform today, and especially their counterpart, that is Team Regicide.
Yeah, I mean, both the teams not really having a fun time during the league stage. As you mentioned, 7th Element qualifying on the 16th position with Regicide on the 15th, 2 points separating them. So it was kind of a close call between them and Raw, and they will definitely be quite grateful for the early points they were able to secure during their run that helped them qualify. But Over here, I mean, since it is it is a complete fresh start at the start of day number 1 of the South Asia Championship, I think this is that one factor that they can use to their advantage, that everyone is starting from scratch right now. The leaderboard is reset, and I mean, hopefully, if they can get this first game, it can be a good turnaround for them. TUF on our screens right now, definitely a well-known name in their region. Also, a team that was part of the bottom 6 of the league stages.
Oh yeah.
So quite a lot of expectations from them. They had a few good performances, started off quite strong in the league stages, and ended on a decent note as well. Especially that last day of theirs was quite good for them.
Agreed. I think so. If I'm not wrong, TU have actually secured a second and also end up in the second and third position respectively in the final few games. So they somehow managed to, just get a little bit comfortable in the overall ranking. That's why they are here. But you know what? These type of final, if you're depending on those final maps, the final day, this will lead to you positioning like you are totally dependent on how other teams gonna mess up and how other teams gonna perform on the final day and what type of mentality they actually have. So you start strong in the first day, but let's see if that's going to be the case for them today or not. Or maybe they start off things with the chicken, or maybe they end up in the top 5 in the first game itself. But it's a huge ask. To be honest, it's a huge ask, especially the whole region itself, because we just saw like out of 8 teams, only 6 of them qualified from the Pakistan region, and they were in the bottom 6. So that's a point of concern. And if you're talking about concern, Blade is already Blade got knocked out in an open area, and I don't think the person can revive him.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Aegon I8 could be in a world of trouble, as you mentioned. Leo is a team with a lot of firepower, and they are not going to shy away from this fight, as we do see Haidam and Sus push for a flank. Blade is going to be left behind. I8 giving up on this aggression in their direction before the fight even began.
Okay, they gave up. It was better option, right? Losing out only 1 player, it's even good than losing out 2 in a very awkward positioning. So that's a decent thing to just think of. But Slipknot, he's the first one who got the first blood in this game today.
What a wonderful start. And I think it was something that Leo were also hoping for. Let's see. Things are gonna go. I mean, Aegon I8 now will have a little bit of information as to where they would have left players of Leo Esport. They're gonna be cautious and constantly watching their back. 2K, we saw them mid-rotation. I8 right on top of Everest. It's always going for the high ground super early. If they have the right scopes, they can definitely get a little bit of information on the teams moving down below.
First zone is about to close in after 17 seconds. And I would love to see another centralized circle, because this circle is still favoring the area of Katka, Pochinki, and also Kori is still in the play, and also Peripia is a comfortable spot to hold on. But I would love to see how Team Regicide will make their way if the circle move towards the little bit southern side of the map, and it actually is a southern circle, by the way. The military bridge is still in place, so players off. Seems like it's empty.
I mean, yeah, they rotated quite early. It was a little bit of the shots being fired on Aegon I8 by the players of 7th Element made sure that Aegon I8 wasn't going to be there. And I think 7th Element also did not want to engage or even risk an early engagement. So they also abandoned their positions on the map super early, rotating out, trying to see if they can find an isolated spot. But talking about being isolated, Illuminate crew, they are definitely not alone. See them in, well, they do have quite a lot of cover to work with, but I don't think staying close to that watchtower for a while, for more than a minute, is going to be advisable for them. But hey, the first airdrop Brings with it the MG3. A lot of utility.
I like MG3. In certain situations, it's the best weapon. But if you are comfortable with an M416 or maybe an AKM, you're good. Yeah, you're happy, right? You're a happy person. If you have the best loadout, which is best for you, then you're gonna be the happiest person on earth. And if you're talking about happiest person on earth, it might be Zibian from Magnus, because he spots out Sek. He pinned him down behind a haystack, and it seems like he might lose his life too. Magnus Esports already got an opening, and they should utilize it to its perfection. But I don't think so. They will. They won't be able to do that. No way. That's the great escape today.
Yeah, shots fired, but none connect. Kind of a missed opportunity by Magnus Esport. Although kudos to them for trying to at least secure or find an opening on the opposition, the distance being a little too much for them to deal with. But now their position has been revealed, and this spot on top of the hill is quite exposed. So Zibian is going to have to be extremely careful. But look at this. We do have another fight breaking out on the map. Or maybe it will NB. These houses out in the open fields, 33 seconds before they have anything to worry about. But I think the presence of T2K in the distance has been felt. They are all looking in the same direction, I mean. And shots have been fired, so that pretty much confirms it.
I would have to say, where are the vehicles? Because I know you have a good position, and you are in a good area right now in the circle. But what if the circle moves towards or takes a very, very weird shift? This might, force you to move from this particular area. But what just I witnessed, Regicide Buddy just lost his life because he just got knocked out. And also they secured a player, and also they secured a pick off the player of IHC. It seems like a lot of fights are panning out here.
Yeah.
But we are witnessing a fight between NB Esports, or maybe another escape for NB Esports. They are still struggling to find an opening right now. So this isn't the best start for them.
I mean, a lot of shots are being fired by this team, but none of them are making contact with the enemy. That can lead to a little bit of a troublesome situation for them in the future, but let's see. IHC, they have the players of TUF in their crosshairs. They're waiting for them to get into position on the other side of the map. BRS, it looks like, are in a world of hurt. IHC, they have lost Godless as well. Alex, trying to get cheeky, repeats the window, takes a few shots. Luthor was quite wary of this move and did not peek. Position Leo Esports. Oh my goodness. We have completely missed this action. Sus is knocked out. It's down to the last two players of Leo, and the team of 7th Element, they're going for the push. Haidami with the shotgun is going to find an opening, reducing the numbers to 2v3, but this is still looking like a lot of trouble for the players of Leo. They have to heal, they have to go for the revives, and at the same time stop the push coming in from the players of 7th Element. And 7E, they're not looking to stop. Divine, he's cooking up the nade. His teammate is going for a push. Sus is still on his knees. Nowhere left to go. Leo in a world of trouble. Look at this. T24 OP, he's going for the flank, and Slipknot, he has nothing left to do. He's hiding behind the wall with utility in his hands. Utility is the only thing that can save the players of Leo at this point, but nade in the hands of Tokusaurus is definitely going to be enough to dish out the damage. But T2K with the third party find the knock on Slipknot, and Height is going to run into the line of fire. He needs to be careful. 7th Element now, they should also realize that since the player of Leo was knocked out by the lads of T2K, that as soon as they step out of this warehouse, they are going to be next.
Yeah, and they have to be careful, because look at the players of NB Esports, they're just right behind them. So if they just trying to be a little bit cheeky, they might get punished. But against Haidam, he got a revival, and now he is back on his feet. They are using those smoke grenades to make some extra cover, at least to just survive for a little bit long. Otherwise, they won't be able to make it through. They secured 2 picks. They lost 2 of their players, I think. So this is the best trade you can get from here. Just escape. Just run away from here. Meanwhile, we can see IHC is also struggling. It just all comes down to only 1 player. This is not the way they should get a start. But Tokusaurus goes down. This is a game.
Oh no!
T24 is the only one. Slipknot slipping out the HP of the players of 7th Element, and now it's 1v2 duel.
This has to be the biggest blunder of this game. It was basically a 3v1. Slipknot, the last man standing on the other side of the wall, and had all of them pushed together, they would have gotten him. But no, they gave him isolated individual fights and he made them pay. But now looks like it's time for Regicide's Roshan, as he does find an important pick with the DBS in his hands and does make sure that his team is going to be there for the next few seconds of the game. But he's stuck in a 1v2. He's getting pushed upon. He has Maptex, one of the players from the side of Maptex right behind him. Will Roshan make it out for his team? And the answer is no. T2K, they finish off his team, and now the next team in their crosshair, it's going to be I believe, one of the last players surviving from Maptex. And they also have just 3 players remaining, so they can definitely go for the risky play and try and push.
Yeah, I think they should, because they already have good amount of kills and you can collect some more. It seems like they're just going to do the same thing. TUF looking strong, already collected a lot of kills, 5 in total. But this is a ballsy move, but what was that demotivate, sir? He just he is on very low of his HP. Thor comes down for the save and he actually will secure another pair. Maptex faced an elimination on the 13th position and they secure total 4 finish points. I think so. This is a good thing. At least you got something. If you take an exit on the 14th position, it's good. But for now, Team NB Esports, this is a team which is struggling for a very long time. But right now they got a good amount of compounds. And Leo, the way they managed to clutch, especially Slipknot, the way he managed to clutch out in that 1v3 situation, that was a heroic approach, and he deserved that actually.
I mean, let's see though. They have won one fight, as you mentioned, the players of Leo Esport, but NB, I want to see what their approach to this scenario is going to be. As you mentioned, they do have a lot of real estate to work with, but they're looking at the wrong spot. They expect the players of Leo to be outside, on the outer side of this compound, but not right in front. I think if this is the read on this play, then this can backfire on the players of NB. But I think as soon as they try to approach the compound or try to initiate the fight, they should have the information on the other side. Talk about information. Well, Stalwart Esports has exact locations of where the players are. Magnus in front of them, finisher has been finished, and for a second, Stalwart switch things up. Decide to shift focus on the last surviving player of DRS, Killer YT, out in the blue and also in the crosshairs of Top. Top is waiting. Healing can wait. First, he needs to get the kill, and that is going to be the easiest thing for him. DRS have been wiped out. Magnus is going to be next, and all of a sudden, Stalwart sit there in the top 10 of this game with 5 eliminations to their name.
Top eliminated 2 teams in a row, and now they're looking out for another. But NB Esports already initiated a fight against the players of Leo Esports, and oh my god, Leo Esports takes an exit from the lobby. Secure 5 elimination and end up in the 10th position. It's still a good thing. This is the first game, and this is just the start. You got a good outing. Although we still have 9 teams left. NB Esports, they are again looking confident. They have a good amount of real estate, and they also have a huge amount of vehicles to work with, and also good loot. But where the circles is going to form, that's going to be the best question, and that's going to be the biggest question for them. And it moves towards the southern side. 7th eliminate. You left Ferrypier, and circle is favoring Ferrypier. No way. I think so. They were just a bit unlucky.
Yeah, they were unlucky. And look at Aegon I8. I think they're going to be quite happy with this. They did not go a little bit too far away from Ferry Pair. They decided to stick it out, and this is going to be quite beneficial to them. On the other side, as we're looking at NB Esport, I think they have quite a bit of challenge ahead of them. They have to make sure that they stay clear of I8 as they rotate into the circle. And it's not just, Stalwart Esports. And it's not just Stalwart Esports they have to worry about. Towards their right are the players of T2K, who at least for this very moment are focused on Goku, the last surviving player from QR. But it's not going to take them a long time to realize, like, that is the easiest elimination for us to secure. We can refocus on this guy. He's going to be stuck in the blue, and we should start focusing on the team ahead, clear up the edge, get our spot inside the zone, and then look back to get those extra points of the teams that have delayed their rotations.
Oh, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because this
Yes.
circle, it's going to be the scary one, especially for the teams who are very far away from this zone. And also, teams like Starwood Esports, look at that, secure 5 elimination, high voltage DC looking very good. NB Esports, they also secure 3, but they got pinned down by the players of Starwood Esports, and this is not a good sign. Meanwhile, Content Race takes an exit on the 9th position without even securing a single point. That's the worst nightmare for them. NB Esports started off their journey a bit strong, but now it seems like they might end up towards the coffin. Oh no, they escaped in front of the players of Starwood Esports, and now they're moving towards the safe zone, and Starwood Esports is gonna do the same thing. Although they dished out a huge amount of damage, and this might affect them when they reach their hot location, and that's what's just happening. High voltage DC just utilizing that damage to their perfection, and also to just help them to collect some kills, and this might be the best grenade.
Oh.
He might secure a pick, but no, Cloud. Missing out
I
by
mean,
an inch.
all right, as you mentioned, I mean, just STE dishing out all that damage, I think did help out Cloud quite a lot. But then for MV also blew up the vehicles. NB again in a very difficult situation, and also they have Aegon I8 watching their back. This team has just walked into basically the
Chaos.
pits of Tartarus. This is hell for them. They can't get out of this. It is not going to be easy. They have literally 4 teams surrounded. I mean, goodness gracious for them, Starwood Esports decide to start fighting it out with T2K for all of a sudden, and high voltage also at the same time. So the distractions have arrived, but it's not going to be enough opportunity. But Siog, what was that? Just takes the face first dive into 2 players of high voltage, Assassin and Praveen, and they just destroy him in a matter of seconds. Sandesh was dropped low as well, and Starwood taking advantage of the situation to make sure he's not going to be standing for long. Rig is going to be the last player surviving for the side of T2K. How long he's going to take this? He
No
is
way.
up against an army of stalwart players, and they make sure that he is going to be eliminated. T2K taking an early exit from this matchup, but he made sure that Stalwart is not going to be at 100% after that fight. He made sure that best player is walking out with him, as Top has been eliminated, and Icy is going to be on his knees next.
Yep, before before going down, he just put them in a handicap position, and Icy falls down by Jiggle. He secures the pick, and look at Action. He is barely surviving with just 10% of his HP. I didn't think so. He won't be able to make it inside circle until some miraculous thing just happened. But high voltage, look at them, 6 total elimination. Assassin is still looking out for his first, but that's you know what, that's just cool. And yes, that's not the way you should enter inside the circle. NB Esports, we were talking about them. They got stuck inside the hell, but they somehow managed to survive. Or did I spoke too soon? I think so. Yes, Vipers from the distance, putting out the players of NB Esports to the end, and Action might not survive the barrage of these bullets, and he will not. And by the way, Jiggle secured that pick by a Uzi. What? He stole that kill. No way.
I mean, quite impressive right there, but now as we are down to the final 6 teams, 17 players surviving, I think things will get more and more intense by the second. The last 2 players from the side of I8 have managed to find a nice little safe haven for them on the eastern edge of the zone, but they have the players of high voltage approaching them with a very high velocity, and it is going to be quite a bit of challenge. It's a 2v4 situation, but high voltage, they switch gears, going towards the compound of I8, and ooze him in a world of hurt, but he still makes sure that the shotgun in his hands is going to knock down Praveen. It is down to the last player of Aegon I8. He has a UMP, but will it be enough? I don't think so. It is a 1v3 that he has to deal with, and he runs inside towards his demise. Aegon I8, well, they go bye-bye.
Yeah, 6th position is the final number. This is just secure. But to be honest, it was a good fight. High voltage, just because of the man advantage they had in the previous fight, helped them a lot. They just lost out 1 player. They also saved Jiggle from his death, and also has the major compound inside circle. They might secure the chicken, and or maybe I just spoke too soon. Who knows? The future will answer my question. But we have the top 5 team. The 14 players are remaining, and in between these 14 players, we have Thor, who is just surviving, who is just fighting for his life. This man is just a superman. Trust me, he always come up with a solution, and the solution is just give me meds, I'll survive. Don't worry.
Give me meds, man. Just make sure I have the HP bar and I'm going to make sure that we win the game. Sounds like an easy plan, but let's see if the other lads on the map right now will agree with him. There are a lot of teams that they have to deal with before that. High voltage, Cloud, Jiggle, Assassin, being put under pressure by the players of Illuminate right next to them. But they're not worried about that much. I think they want to make sure that the backs are cleared, the center of the zone is cleared, and the house next door is abandoned as well, as they try to finish off the players of NB. Shots do connect. Assassin managing to hit a few bullets through the smoke, but that does not really amount to much. They have given away information that, hey, presence is still there in that house. They haven't secured an opening yet. And I think that is how it's going to be for a little while now as well, since all three teams do not really have any incentive to fight it out. They are in the zone, they have ample cover, they can just wait and watch what happens.
The sixth circle will start closing in after the 30 seconds, and this will allow the teams to just move forward and just take the safe haven, or if they will be get allowed or not. Team TUF lost one of their players, and that is H2SO4. And they still have Riddler, Thor, and Demotivate Sir. And you know what? Demotivate Sir is always the guy who always initiates the fight, but it was always Riddler or Thor who secures the final finish. So he's like the important guy, and also the point of contact, and also works like as a catalyst. But that's going to be the case for them or not, because to be honest, it's now a slow. It seems like we are just moving towards the end, but slowly and steadily.
Yeah, it's quite a slow final few stages of the game, you mentioned, but I think that is about to end in just a few more seconds. And we do have towards the southwestern and the southern edge, two teams approaching the edge of the zone, the edge of the circle, and that is going to force them to, well, juke it out between them, see who survives, see who makes it through. And high possibility it is going to be the lads from 4MB. They do have the numbers, also have the superior position, as they have the high ground covering up their front, and they can utilize that to close the fight with the players of Illuminate. High voltage, not a lot left to do. They just want to hold on to their cover, not let it go. Illuminate as well. Their objective is quite clear, not step into the line of fire of either 4MV or the players of NB. They pretty much have an entire building blocking them and high voltage from each other. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds, right, 15 seconds. Final few moves are going to be thought by these teams, and as soon as the zone closes and we have the next circle in front of us, they're going to be forced to move. I hope it goes west.
Oh, okay. Just need some more spiciness in the game. I don't know how much scary this game will go, but for now...
it's right in the center. Perfect.
Yeah, it's right in the center. Helping almost every single team which were holding the center of the circle, except NB Esports. They are in a whole world of trouble. I would love to see how they will enter inside the circle, or if they will make it into the circle or not.
I don't think they're going to be making it. All right, now for sure, since they have made sure that they're going to be starting the fight against the players of 4MV, and do have a Kaz who has managed to secure a knock on one of the players of TUF at the same time as well. So now, instead of just 4 players focused in on them, they have a minimum 7 players looking in their direction, which, especially considering they have an open slope to run down, it is not going to be an advisable. And look at that. First knock, as soon as Sek is done healing up, he steps out of that small little shack that he was hiding in. He gets knocked down to his knees. Same is going to happen to Kaz as soon as he steps out from behind the cover as well. The last 40 seconds for these lads, the last 40 seconds of safety, at least in game number 1. But I think they have done quite a decent job. They've made it into the top 5. They have a good number of eliminations as well. And, well, Sek is going to go bye-bye. His teammate is going to go bye-bye as well. They have been eliminated. We're down to the top 4 teams. Just final 12 players remaining. And Illuminate, look at them going for a push on the players of high voltage. Utility is going to be lobbed indoors. The Molotov does nothing. Cloud is going to secure the knock. And, in fact, the Molly does knock out Sky. His teammates Molly knocked him out. Quite unfortunate. Viper is going to get a earful for that. But that does result in us having, ladies and gentlemen, the top 3 of game number 1 of the PMPL South Asia Championship.
4 Miracle and also TUF bid the players of high voltage. 4 Miracle White just trying to initiate a fight against the players of TUF because they just want to hold the edge. And also I like how high voltage is taking those fights because they're staying as a pack but refuse. What a grenade! Knocks out 2 players in a row and might secure the final one too. TUF, they are in a whole lot of trouble. This is not the way they wanted this to end, and they might face the elimination too. Yes, TUF end up at third position in the first game of this championship.
And now we are down to the final two teams. It's a 4v3 high voltage versus 4 Miracle Wives. And can these Miracles definitely go ahead and secure the win for their team? We are about to find that out. High voltage, they're going to run out in the open. It's final zone, final few seconds for these teams to fight it out. And look at the beautiful amount of smokes that have been lobbed on this battleground right now. But Doc, he knows what he has to do. Gets in the buggy, goes for a little drive, is going to get knocked out, but not for free. High voltage, they lose one of their own as the players take those shots. They do expose themselves as well. And for MV, they're going to be grateful for this, securing the win in game number 1. The chicken dinner is going to be theirs with a decent number of eliminations as well. I believe they're going to walk away with 8 eliminations from this game, along with the 10 points for the win, 18 point start. That's quite good.
That's certainly is the best start you can get from the first game itself. 4 Miracle Wives again, just playing like a normal day, to be honest. But we'll talk a lot about this team and also about the other teams too, but after a very short break. What a start! What a start! 4 Miracle Wives just securing the first chicken dinner of the first game of the day. It's like, again, as I just told you earlier, it's a normal day. It's a walk in the park for them. They were the team who secured the second position in the league stage, and they started off like this. Okay, it seems like they're just looking forward for the championship title.
I mean, yes, this game was played out perfectly by them. They made sure that the early stages, they were not being too over, not engaging too many fights, because that can cause a lot of trouble for the team when they're rotating from edge to edge in the middle game stages. Because they had 5 eliminations right before they went charging towards the players of high voltage, and that included the last 2 teams that they eliminated. So early stages, not a lot of fighting, just completely focused on making sure all 4 players survived in the end game stages. And I think if they can continuously do this game after game, if they can replicate this, just making sure players are surviving till the late game stages, I think their point average at the end of the day is going to look extremely, extremely good. The only way someone can take them down is going to be by having a playstyle like high voltage, because high voltage ended the game with 9 eliminations. Definitely a little bit higher than the players of 4MV, but due to that, they did not have enough bodies to commit to the final fight, and they also put a little bit under pressure by the players of Illuminate Crew as they were being charged upon, and sort of had to run out of that house in a very chaotic spree of the moment decision-making process, and that sort of also swung the advantage of that final fight in the favor of 4MV, which they definitely did utilize quite nicely. But still, I mean, it was an extremely good game for game number 1, and we do also have the MVP on our screens, which is going to be top. I mean, how did he pull it off? He was out of the game so early before the game came to an end. Look at that survival time, 19 minutes, but still 4 eliminations and 913 damage dished out. The man is always at his best.
Yeah, he is the guy who eliminated 2 teams in yeah, getting the MVP title is like again very common for top, right? It's very common for top. Although the team itself, we talk about the Starwood Esports, they got stuck in a very weird spot, and also whenever they were trying to to spin down the players of T2K, they found themselves on the receiving edge too. So just because of that, they end up in a bit early. Although it was a nice try from the side of the players of Starwood Esports, but we have High Voltage Chigil in the player to focus, and Volley again. Maptex Esports. This team is just a war machine, especially Wally. This guy secured every single Maptex. I think to secure 4 elimination, and out of those 4, Wally has every single one of them.
I've been definitely doing quite a lot for his team, and Wally has been a player that I've been watching for a while, for years now. He's been consistent throughout his entire career, and this is the kind of expectations everyone has from him every single time he's playing the game. Moving on to the match summary, which is going to be next, we do have Diffuse walking away with the highest elimination for being the number, but he has been tied by the rest of the competition at the same time. We have Jiggle, Top, and Wally, all the players in the list of top eliminators being there with 4 eliminations. Moving on to the highest damage, we did see Top, as he became the MVP of the game, be there number 1 in the list of highest damage with 913 damage dished out, but he was also being contested. This was a game in the mid-game stages and a little bit in the early game as well. Teams were forced to take impromptu fights, but looking at the match rankings, I think because of that, we do have a lot of interesting results, because as we were talking about getting those elimination numbers up early on in the game, look at this. 4MV, they walk away with 8 eliminations and they have 18 points. High Voltage on the other side, High Voltage DC, they walk away with 11 eliminations. They just have 6 placement points, and yet 17 placement points, just 1 point shy of the team sitting at the top of the leaderboard right now.
Point structure itself is very crazy, by the way. And we would say they secure total 3 placement points, but just because they have only 3 elimination points, they are in the 5th position, and Starwood East could secure total 7 elimination points. By the way, IHC also, they were on the 16th position, but I'm not surprised, right? They tend to start very slow. This is their play style, so I'm still waiting for the first half of the day, because whenever they try to understand the gameplay, they end up in these type of position. But whenever they are ready, whenever they're like, okay, now it's our time to shine, they always secure the top 3 or maybe in the top 5. But we still have to wait for that. Although I like the thinking process of the players of the Pakistan region, because we saw a lot of them, they had a good amount of circle advantage. Also a lot of the teams also has good amount of compounds and best weapons. The only thing they were struggling with was the way they took those fights, because some of them just got caught off guard while they were rotating.
Yeah, I mean, mid-rotation, they were struggling a little bit, but I think, yes, we did see, I mean, especially TUF was one of the teams that was shining out quite nicely in the previous matchup, doing quite well for themselves, securing a decent number of points, and I think that is something that can be replicated, but they were also being extremely aggressive, as you mentioned, and I think that aggression, that mid-game aggression can work out for them. But again, this was just game number 1. The finals have just started and the day has just begun as well. Things can take a turn for the worst for the teams in the next few matches as well, especially considering, as you mentioned before we started our day, that off maps can be a challenge for the teams. Coming up next is going to be Miramar.
And to be honest, it's my favorite map, by the way. And I think so I can say the same thing for the players of DRS Gaming, Train to Kill, Starwood Esports. They always shine so bright in the map of Miramar. So you have to be careful. By the way, DRS, they are missing. I think so they are just missing the DRS touch in this, PMPL Season 3, because they've been one of the most consistent and one of the most dominating team from the Nepal region. But out of the bat, they end up in the mid pack of the first game. I would love to see the showcase to come back today, or the showcasing will come back today, and in the end of the day, should secure like roughly about 80 to 90 points to just be in a safer spot, or maybe I know 80 to 90 is a huge ask, or if they secure around 60, it would be better for them.
I mean, that is going to put them in a very wonderful position, looking forward to the day tomorrow to begin their journey, if they can actually manage to do that. But I mean, based on their form, it is going to be interesting to see how their approach to the next few matches is going to look like, especially, I mean, who can forget the global championship run that this team has? DRS, I mean, doing phenomenal. Everyone expects them to dominate this region. They are supposed to be the alpha team right now. And that, I think, just the fact that people expect a lot more from them. Let's not forget, DRS is a legacy team. It's a legacy name. It's a big banner from Nepal, one of the biggest orgs in the country. And I mean, they have done phenomenal throughout their entire existence. That, I think, is the reason that fans expect them to always win. They expect them to always win every single game. And again, putting the players under a lot of pressure to always be performing. And that cannot be the case. I mean, you're going to have a few bad games, but you have to learn to move on. And DRS, they do have the players of the caliber that they do realize themselves, all right, reset, focus on the next game, we're going to win the next one, or we're going to do well consistently throughout the day, get the points on the board, and then win the overall championship. I think that is the mindset the DRS have, and a few bad games are not going to shake their overall run. So I think we're going to have to be extremely patient with DRS and just keep an eye on their overall ranking the entire time.
Oh, waiting for that, just showcase the real DRS form. But yeah, as just mentioned, we have to wait for a little bit long. But now the second match has started. In the first match, we saw the 4 Miracle Vibe secure a chicken dinner. But this is the map which changed the flow, the playstyle, and also your understanding and also your approach to the map itself, because it's Miramar, one of the biggest map in Pubg Mobile, and also a bit fast too, because if you're good enough, if you're good with those long range fights, you are a beast here. Regicide drops in the Campo Militar area. The playing path starts, the trajectory starts from the Campo Militar area and heading towards the southwestern side of La Dedra. Although Lost Leon is a bit too far, but teams can still collect some vehicles and move towards their favorite to like Lost Leonis and Porto Parasi.
I mean, for sure. As you mentioned, I mean, the rotations can be planned out in the early stages, but in order to plan the rotation, we need to know where the zone is going to be. And that is one of the most challenging aspects of Miramar. The starting zone can definitely force you to plan out your ending game scenarios based on if it's going to be headed towards an urban area or maybe quite an open position like this with the circle being on top, right, centered quite close to the position of Hacienda del Patron. But I mean, this is going to force these teams to play slowly. There's a massive cluster of teams inside the circle right now. Maptex, they know Regicide have dropped towards that Campo Militar position, and they're going to try and block them from moving inside the zone. Magnus, they're going to try and do the same thing for MV, and the team of TUF, I think, are now going to be thinking as to how do they find a way to get inside the zone towards the edge. And especially since on Miramar, we see a lot of late rotations from the team starting to take control of the edge from zone number 3, zone number 4 onwards. I think at that point, it is going to be a challenge for everyone to try and find their position inside the circle that late in the game.
As we are talking about Maptex is really notorious on Miramar, especially punishing those late teams who were tend to go for the late rotations. You have to be careful. I don't know how Regicide and Magnus gonna, just if they faced team takes in those late rotation fights, they might end up on the receiving end. So they have to be careful, because Maptex, again, they are also very good on the map of Miramar too. And I already discussed about their game plan. That's the part of their game plan which they follow a lot, because it helped them a lot to just get a lot of kills, a lot of those early eliminations. Talking about early elimination, it seems like Agon I8 might initiate a fight against the players of 7th element. Again, these two teams are up against each other, but on a different map. And still, it's a 4v2 situation. I don't know why Agon I8 is doing these kind of shenanigans again and again.
Yeah, I have no idea as well. I don't think it's Agon I8's plans. I think it's more of 7th element doing. Okay. Neighbors on Erangel, neighbors on Miramar, and definitely not the welcome neighbors, I guess, for each other. Agon I8, they are being extremely careful. We do have QQ, he's just waiting, goes for the jump shots. Has managed to connect a few, but he needs to be extremely patient about this. As you mentioned, it is a 2v4 situation. The rest of the lads from the side of Agon I8 have arrived, but it will take them a few seconds to get into position, and all QQ has to do is just not get dogged out. And look at this, he stays behind the cover, 7th element. They lose out on 2 players. Now this plan of theirs has backfired very badly. Sivansh.
Oh my god, that's a katana finish.
Yeah.
There. And yes, ThankYou be like, you know what? You guys just trying to act a little bit cheeky or smart? Yeah. We are the smartest one. Okay, don't do that again. Don't do that again. Oh my god. This team is just punishing the opponents a bit too harshly, by the way. And that's what happens if you just try to act smart or just try to initiate those early fights, though.
Yep.
So, Aegon, I think so. It's a statement from their side that don't try that again. You had done it in Erangel, and you're just trying to replicate the same thing on Miramar. This is what's gonna happen against you. This is what's gonna happen to you.
I mean, for sure. That has to be the statement. And if 7th Element do not get the message now, well, that means there's going to be a little bit more entertainment for us waiting in the future matches. And we should not complain about this at all.
Exactly.
But let's see. Let's see. For now, at least, 7th Element are in the worst possible situation at the start of Miramar. They have lost 3 players due to an unforeseen early engagement against the players of Aegon I8, and the last player that is left is just left to survive in one of the most worst possible imaginable conditions in this game. On Miramar, completely isolated and also not really in a good spot on the map. So a lot of challenges for him to deal with all alone, but he can just stay in creative fields for a little while, hope the players of Aegon I do not find him or no one runs in his direction.
Rotations being made by the players who are still playing on the edge. I just want to update the positioning of teams like NB Esports. They are still in El Pozo. Mountain were being acquired by the players of IHC. High Voltage DC, they are still in Picado. And it seems like IHC, they are just still in a split formation. And you know what? They are looking out for a better loot. But this is where things will get very interesting. The San Martin area. Leo, Liquid. Leo is a team who never backs down, who never backs off if there's a fight, if there's a possibility of a fight, they always tend to go for those. So the approach they always have doesn't matter what the map is, the type of approach they have, it just leads them to collect a lot of those elimination points. Though it's a challenging part in Miramar because the amount of distance you have with your opponents is huge, and the comfortable your opponents are is more difficult for you to get those eliminations. Liquid won't be able to convert that one player into a coffin and also reveal his position. Now Star Wars Esports, they're going to be a little bit more cautious because now they are aware that there are enemies alongside them.
I would love to see this 4v4. Stalwart up against... Yeah. I mean, these are two of the strongest teams in terms of firepower. Would not want to see them fight with all of their players present and see what happens. I mean, it is going to be super fun, but the problem with late game fights is we know one of them is going to be lacking numbers for sure because of how aggressive their approach is towards the game, and we will only a few times, hardly ever going to get to witness Stalwart and Leo up against each other playing at 100%. So I think the teams definitely do not agree with me since Stalwart have backed off. Leo on the other side also just walking away from the hill enough to not completely abandon vision of these compounds and just make sure they keep an eye on the players of Stalwart Esports, see which ridges they're going to hide behind or where they're going to move out towards. Liquid has to relay all this information alone to his entire team. On the other side, I think Stalwart Esports are expecting DRS from the rear as well. Just being extremely cautious.
Oh yeah. His
which
DRS
is always going to be good. Yeah.
Used to tell to just drop near the Hacienda del Petro area, so they have to be careful. We have seen these two teams fight a lot, especially whenever DR is trying to rotate. So they have to be careful, by the way. But this circle. So what team Leo and also NB Esports can do? They can take control of the water treatment because look at the circle favoring the northern side of the map pretty heavily. Teams like Regicide and also Maptex. These two teams, if they get allowed to reign supreme or just punish you in a very awful spot, they will. So you have to be careful, especially with these type of circles. I would love to see how Team Eliminate Crew will make their way into the circle. It seems like this is going to move towards the Cruz the Valley area, and they're just going to hold those ridges and also those single compounds. But high voltage, DC might, get a difficult journey because they are just moving straight towards the certain side of the circle.
Let's see though, T2K Siog in a world of hurt as he finds himself up against Faster from the side of Magnus. The damage has been dished out with the weapon, but the nade can secure the knock, but no, Siog is going to get out of position and avoid any sort of damage inflicted upon him, and his teammates have arrived as well. Magnus, this fight not really going the way they had hoped. They have lost Drawlin in the back line. Sandesh is going to try and secure that finisher, and Faster are now stuck. This nade is going to hurt like hell to Faster, and he's going to be knocked out as well. T2K, as the name says, trained to kill. They are doing a brilliant job over here, having brought Maptex down to the last two players. Rig knows the position of the player in the warehouse as well, goes for a jiggle peek with the UMP. His teammate from the backlines does provide ample amount of support, cover fire to make sure that Rig is just going to be knocked and not finished. T2K, they managed to preserve their numbers throughout this entire fight quite beautifully as well. And in the meanwhile, Magnus, they're down to the last player.
Magnus, they had a similar amount of exit in the previous map. They were in the 11th position and they secured total 2 eliminations. But right now, only one player left. So again, that's not the ideal start for the team like Magnus. But you know what? I think that they're just trying to settle in. They're just trying to understand that how other teams are playing. Although they are aware of the fact that what type of approach T2K is going to follow. But this was an unorthodox play being made by Sandesh, because the grenade he lobbed would just drop perfectly where the players of Magnus is trying to go for the Russian and also the slam in, and that grenade just landed perfectly. But now we saw two of the teams in the lobby just left with only one player, and that's going to be Magnus and Seven. What Cena is doing? He's just being silent. He needs to be careful. Quantum range again. This is a team who needs a lot of points.
Yeah.
Because they are also struggling in action. No way. He might miss the action in the lobby because he's the first one who just got knocked down. He might face the elimination too. Cena needs to be careful. Where's the backup? Where's the backup? Quantum range.
Well, Senior, he's done a brilliant job till now. Top has been, well, his HP bar has been chipped away as well. Senior is going to try and see if he can secure a little bit of extra damage onto the players of Stalwart Esport with the utility in his hands as well. But his team needs to rotate, and they need to rotate now. Oh, look at them! They are getting extremely lucky as Stalwart is going to fall to the hands of a third party as well. And in a matter of seconds, what just happened? Stalwart Esport, after the run they had in the last game, well, They are eliminated in this game, and it's not just them. Aegon I8 have also been eliminated. Two teams at the same time.
No way.
Wow.
I'm surprised. No way. Cena is the one who initiated that fight, and Quantum Rage instantly annihilated the whole team. Oh my god, not giving them a single room to breathe. And also, I've been talking about this from a very long time, and that is Maptex is very notorious on the map of Miramar and showcasing those notorious players. Another fight is being panned out, and that's going to be T2K versus DRS. One of the players of DRS got knocked down, and now he's just facing the front. He needs to be. He is at the back, so the revival process is going to be quick and fast too. Sparky also out in an open area, playing around those ridges, spots out the players of team DRS, and also one of the important team, and that is the NB Esports. But he is right between those two teams, so he needs to be careful. If he makes any type of crazy play or any type of beautiful shenanigan, he might get punished there. So I see on the other side. Secure one pick, and that goes to Zeol. But no way, Maptex. The vehicle explosion is enough. Wally just moving forward to finish off the two players who got knocked out by the vehicle explosion. Demotivated Sir might get crushed. And yes, he lost his life against a buggy. Maptex 6 total elimination in this map. And yes, the game plan is similar. The game plan is same. The result is still same. And the amount of aggression is still perfect. Team TUF finding out that they are in a whole world of trouble. Goku might unleash the Super Saiyan here, lob the grenade up against S2SFO. The chemical compound might break, and also the hopes of TUF. Anything can happen, and another fight might pan out near the water treatment plant. 7-Eleven again takes an exit on the 14th position. Haven't secured a single pick and they face an elimination here. This is bad. This shouldn't happen. That's not a good sign. I am scared, and I am also wondering that how the teams who are playing on the edge, how they're going to enter inside the circle. This is not a good sign at all, Johnny. Although some of the teams, they are enjoying the elimination feed, they are enjoying the amount of eliminations they got, but they need to be careful because you still have 12 teams to beat. Although they count you too. So if you want second, NBA